Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Never before has Formula One seen a 5-driver title fight. The closest they came was 16 years ago in 2010 when Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso and of course Lewis Hamilton were the 4 drivers to go toe-to-toe in Abu Dhabi, and Vettel was the man that day to take the honours. Tonight, in 2026, 5 drivers at the same circuit, with some revisions to the track circuit, go for Season 24 title with Invictus Racing League. Ashtube 1212, Merckx, Sydney, the War Islander and Jeremy Clarkson are our 5 protagonists for the Season 24 crown. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator as always from Invictus Racing League for what is the final race of the championship here at the Yas Marina circuit. Boy, do we have a fight for the championship on our hands. New drivers coming into Invictus Racing League. Lots to talk about as well with the future of the Series 2. That's going to be interesting to discuss as the session goes along. Hello to everybody who is there. Hello to Björn, hello to Aaron, and hello to ARL as well. He's saying nice to end it at home. Well, of course, for ARL, that's where his residency is. We're in qualifying for the final time of Season 24. 15 cars on the grid. We'll talk about a few of those in just a moment, but we are going to be in for one barnstorming evening. I'm fairly certain of it. You know, you're looking at Ashtube, and who has never won a title, I believe, within IRL. He has a 4-point advantage over Merckx, who is in second, a serial veteran winner within Invictus Racing League, of course. Sydney, he's 6 points back from Ashtube, so the top 3 are incredibly close in the driver's standings, as Owen, who should have scored the podium last week, decided to not do that at the final corner, and it all went a bit wrong for him. He's going out on track. The Ferrari of, I think that might be actually Sydney, the only Ferrari in the field, who is out there on track. So that's going to be fascinating to see how he does as well. And the other 2 drivers, as I was talking to before, the War Islander, who isn't here yet. He did say he was on his way in. It'd be a shame to have one of the protagonists out. He is a little bit further back, admittedly. He's 15 points away from Ashtube, but anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does. So don't rule out the War Islander in the other Red Bull car that is yet to appear. And Jeremy Clarkson, who's had a fantastic season, he is mathematically just in the championship fight, but of course that all depends on Ashtube having a retirement. If that doesn't happen and Ashtube scores points, Jeremy is completely out of the battles. He's on 57 points. One driver who's 1 point just out of the deciding crown is ARL. He's on 56 points, but ARL has said now that the Racing Bull cars, Mikey has he gone off in the pits? He's gone off in the pits and been disqualified. I mean, that is one surefire way for the final qualifying session of IRL's race director to go badly wrong. Well done, Mikey. The Cadillac team will be delighted with that performance. But outside of those 5 protagonists, ARL right there in the Racing Bull, he's going to be a fascinating additional story point to this battle this evening, because he is fast, as we know, has had a race win this season, and also, and this is the key point, is Ashtube's teammate. So he's going to be doing everything he can to try and go as much as he can, as Sergio Perez did all those years ago, helping Max Verstappen to that championship crown, even though I'm not going to get into championship circumstances and whether or not. Mikey apparently lost power to his wheel, which is why he went off. Okay, that's fair enough, Mikey. I'll rescind the abuse that I gave you. Thank you, Tristan. Hope you're doing all right there in the comments. I'm still waiting to see what is happening with the other Red Bull in the form of the War Islander. I'm just going to have a look at my access to the chat room at the minute, because I just want to double check everybody who is there in the right place. I also want to double check that we are going to be having the War Islander. There's been quite a lot of comments, actually, to be fair. Just having a little scroll through. I haven't heard anything from the War is saying he's hoping to make it in at the end of qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see. We have got some lap times on the board, and of course the man at the front is Sydney 5802 in the Scuderia Ferrari, 122.9, the first of the effort. Owen in second, Merckx a bit further back in the Red Bull, the 80. Just coming around the couple of corners there in that part of the complex of that circuit at turn 3, then 4, and then into turn 5 at the hairpin we go. Aaron's on a 24.3, IRL's on a 24.4 alongside Jeremy Clarkson. Ginger Tiger's on a 24.7, Irar on a 25.1, and then FRL O'Stephen yet to set a representative lap time. Although we've seen this from O'Stephen in recent races where he's having a couple of bites at qualifying on the same set of tyres. A few drivers to mention who are back for this evening. Ivan Balov has been a resident of IRL for quite a long time, actually. He did appear earlier on in the season. He's back tonight. The Steps, we haven't seen the Steps for quite a while. Nice to have him back. Last time he raced, we were on F125 in those cars, so he was in the Williams back then. So nice to see the Steps back for the final round of the championship. And an XRL Flavour, a new driver for this evening, in place for Nitrogash. It's a shame not to have Nitrogash in this evening, nor Clips Kiri, which is a shame. Neither of those two out there on circuit. Ashtube, big lap this for Ashtube. He's going to come up behind the Red Bull. Shouldn't have got in the way, I don't think. And Ashtube is on a 124.3. Now, I know you all like to hear a little bit about possibilities and such. If the championships were to end as they are now, if it was to finish, let's say in this order, then you'd be looking, I believe, Sydney would be the champion. Yes, that would be the case. Only just. My mathematics are correct. So we'll be looking back between all of the possible variations as we go through. I'm going to get myself, I was going to say a cup of tea, but that's not actually true because I've already got one. But what I was going to say is I'm just going to get the connotations up that we possibly need so I can refer back to them. I do know what I'm doing. I know that some of you might be listening here and thinking, oh, does he know what he's doing? Of course I know what I'm doing. You know, this is the last round of the season. We've got to make sure we're on track for all of this, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't think qualifying is going to fully unveil the pecking order. Good lap that from the Steps, actually, to go up to third place on a 23.6. That's a stonking effort, that. He will be classified as a reserve tonight, so he won't be taking points away. And just to give you a reminder of how the points system works here at IRL, it's 17 for a victory, 14 for second place, 12 for third, 10 for 10 points for 4th place, 8 points for 5th, and then it's a sliding scale of 1 all the way down to 12th place. You do get a point for fastest lap though, so let's not discount that in the series. That could make all of the difference. I'm sure it will. Tonight, every little point helps, and I know that there will be a few drivers trying to get involved in that and causing all sorts of drama. We are following the championship leader, and it's an amazing position to be in, actually, because when you think about it for Ashtube, I know some people might look at Ashtube and think, how has he got to that position? You know, has he done all the races this season? He hasn't. He's missed 2 rounds this season, the exact same number as what Merckx has missed, and 1 less than Sydney, 1 more than Sydney, I should say. 2 more, same as the War Islander, and I think Jeremy Clarkson is the only one of the championship protagonists who's actually missed more races. But Ashtube has had a fabulous season. He's been excellent, and it would be amazing to see him take a championship, as it would for the other 4 drivers. But I think it just shows you the level that he's stepped up to this season, to be leading this series in front of Merckx and Sydney, who for the past 4 or 5 seasons have been winning championships in IRL. You know, those 2 have had a stronghold on the destination of the trophies. So let's see if that can get broken up on this final season 24. Björn saying in the comments, I leave to grab ice cream. I see Mikey's disqualified. Yeah, that was down to Mikey with the wheel disconnect going on there. Let's get out there though. Let's get the track map enabled so we can see who is out on circuit. Looks like there's a couple of Audis out there on a flying lap, and including one of them is the steps. Into turn 1 we go then for a lap on board of the Yas Marina circuit. Turn 2 is just about spotting your line, and turn 3 completely flat. No issues for the R26 driver. Out of turn 4, and then it's all about spotting the braking zone into turn 5. At the 50-metre marker, you turn in, you try and be as early on the power as you possibly can, but that's as difficult as you can make it. Then it's a long stretch all the way down towards turns 6 and 7. A lot of time to think about your braking zone, but you need to be getting it between 150 and 100. Slamming down through the gears into the left-hander. Just go near the curb, but not completely over it, and clip the orange sausage curb, otherwise you'll know about it. Straight line mode activated at this point as the car kicks its way through turn 8. It's not really a corner in any situation. Turn 9, one of the newly reformed corners of the race circuit since 2021, and Steps deciding to take 4th gear through that to sit on the rev limiter a bit more. Turn 10 and 11, get down through the gears, ready for turn 12. It's all about car control through these next couple of corners. It's very easy to oversteer in the 2026 regulation cars through those corners, but the Steps has navigated that nicely. One final corner to go at turn 16. It's all just, again, about delivery on the power off the corner, and that's a nice lap that from the Steps to do on 23.332, 6 tenths away from Sydney, who just improved on that lap whilst we were watching there. So nice effort that from the Steps. Good to see him back. Owen in 3rd position. Merckx on an out lap. He's going to go on to a flying lap now. Is that O'Stephen behind? I think it was. Louis has also joined. I didn't actually talk about Louis, but there he is. I haven't seen Louis for a while, but good to have him in tonight. And of course, for those that are wondering, 675R relates to a fabulous bike. But we are, of course, a Formula 1 channel, so we're not going to give too much precedence to the to our 2-wheeled friends. Errar circulating in 13th position. O'Stephen, or rather Errar in 12th position. O'Stephen 11th. Ivan in 10th place, his teammate in the front row of the grid at the minute, but it doesn't look like Ivan's improving. I think he's invalidated that effort. Now, big lap coming up again for Ashtube. He's 7th at the minute, which would be enough to score him 6 points, but it'd be a big swing in Sydney's favour. Realistically tonight, if Ashtube finishes 2nd, he will win the championship. That's his goal, regardless of what the other drivers do. Even if Merckx won the race and got the fastest lap. It wouldn't be enough. He's got a 4-point buffer. He's on a lap at the minute. He's coming down towards turn 9. He's already gone through turn 8, the left-hander. Not much battery left on Ash Jeep's car. He is improving. But his teammate is in front of him at the minute. Now, I do keep the battery deployment infographics up. The reason for that during qualifying is because, you know, it's okay to keep it open in qualifying. I try and switch it off for the race. I try and give everybody options. Ooh, that was a bit awkward from the Haas of Iran. That was not the nicest lap, and Ashji bails into the pit. So maybe Ashji was just trying to get back as quickly as he could. So that won't be an improvement from him. Jeremy Clarkson isn't on a lap either. And Iran, as we saw, was warming his tyres. Not quite the same aura as Kimi Raikkonen, but still something he wanted to try and do. To be part of all of the action. I'm really fascinated to see how this all shakes out. Can Owen score a race finish this time? If Owen is listening, and I hope he is, or if he isn't, someone message him on Discord to tell him he needs to finish a race tonight. I'm a bit fed up of watching him drive brilliantly and then retire. War Islander is asking for an invite. If I can get him in, I will try. And annoyingly, I don't have him, which is bizarre that I don't actually have him on anything. And I know that we've just cut away from the feed. I do apologise, but we do have to try and get our other championship protagonist in if we can. I will send him a quick friend request, so I hope that he will accept that. He could be my friend. And we're still having some technical issues for whatever reason. We can't seem to get him in. We'll try once more. Okay. I've sent O'Stephen an invite for no apparent reason. 2 invites have gone to War Island. Let's hope that sorts it out and we have no problems there. He can just jump straight in. Mikey's saying it's sorted. After I'd sent those comments around. But that's fine. Ira's been on a lap. Can't see if he's improving just yet. One final corner for him to go through after turn 15. It's a slight improvement for Mirar, but the Haas driver stays on row number 6. Björn and J-Ray currently having a chat about what's their favourite ice cream in terms of Haagen-Dazs and Ben and Jerry's. You all need to go to Italy and get some gelato, gents. You're in the wrong countries. But Louis is out there. So see if Louis, and we have got War Islander in. He's not going to set a time, I don't think. Which is a massive shame, but at least we've got him in. You never know, a safety car could happen around here. It's not impossible at all. Yeah, glad you're in, War Islander. Mikey saying Magnum, because Mikey has to be different. But enough of the ice cream chat. 90 seconds to go in qualifying. And the first driver who I think is going to be setting a flying lap will be Ginger Tiger in the McLaren. He's had a great season, Ginger. Let's hope he can round it off with another good result. I think Ginger's one of the drivers who has significantly improved by running in this open tier that we've got at Invictus Racing League. I think he really has took on another level. He really has improved, and I think that's demonstrated in some of the performances he's had in the championship. We've got a couple of other cars now out on flying laps as well, Iran being one of them. I think the Mercedes of Louis is out there, but he's just moved out of the way actually, so I think he's just going to get a time on the board. And Sydney is also on a lap, so going to do our absolute best. I'm going to take the telemetry away now. And we're just going to keep the times open. So if we can flick through the drivers, I will try and do just that. Sydney on a lap at the moment. The steps has just started. Owen has as well. ARL's out there. Merck has started his flying lap. Ashtube already partway through. So the championship protagonists now are going for it. This is it for them. Sydney is partway around. He's just coming into sector 2 now. Just have a look at his time. He's not improving from pole position at the minute. Ginger Tiger, though, has got 2 corners to go. He is improving on the lap. Can the McLaren find its way onto a 123? It does indeed. So Ginger gets a 23.9. Nice effort from him. What about Aaron? I can see Ashtube is also on a lap. So I'll cut to Ashtube in just a moment. I'm looking at sector times. Aaron does improve but doesn't change his position. Ashtube, well faster. Much better from him. Sydney's lap is done. So the championship protagonist, one of the main 3, isn't going to go any faster. Jeremy Clarkson now moves into second place. And I think Louis has gone into the pits. So Owen will be the next car to come along in the Mercedes. Is this man going to get a race win to spoil everyone else's party? But he's on the front row. It's going to put him in a good position for a race victory potentially. Where is Ashtube? That's an important lap for Ash. That goes to 4th, but then gets displaced by the Audi of Step. So that pushes him down to 5th position. Merck now moves into 3rd place as well. What about ARL across the line? Stays behind his teammate. We're just looking at Ivan and FRL O'Stephen. Well, Ivan's going into the pits. So that's not going to be an improvement from him. O'Stephen, can he get into the top 10? It'd be a good qualifying if he could. Considering the calibre of driver he's against, he's not. And O'Stephen wasn't improving on that lap. So it's Sydney then who takes the first blow in qualifying with 1st place. Well, that is interesting. That is very interesting for qualifying. Sydney strikes the first blow, but the top 6 drivers separated by 0.4 of a second, so that's very tight in the top 6. ARL will be happy to play the joker in the pack of those guys and do something different to help his teammate out. But we will just confirm these are your qualifying results. So the Dutchman of Sydney is on pole position in the Ferrari with Owen alongside him on the first row of the grid. Merck and the Steps make up row 2. The Czechian driver in 4th on his return. Jeremy Clarkson and Ashtube, the championship leader, on row 3 with ARL and Ginger Tiger on row 4. Iran and Ivan Beloff are inside the top 10. O'Stephen and Ira are in the point scoring positions for the time being, with Louis and XRL Flavour at the back of the grid. Mikey was not classified in qualifying, nor was the War Islander. So watch out for the War Islander trying to carve his way through the field. This is going to be a battle and a half, isn't it, everybody? This is just poised and ready to go. Lots of people wishing good luck. Hoping for the best. I'm hoping for an absolutely wild race. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. I mean, it would be amazing if that did happen. We'd actually, for those that are long-time Invictus Racing League members, will remember a few seasons back when we actually had a wet race at Saudi Arabia at Jeddah. I don't know how many people remember that, but that was like one of those rare instances. It was a tier. I was racing that day. I think it was a tier 3 race, and that was amazing. That was a great time. So I don't know if anyone remembers that. Looking at a few people's comments, we're still going on with the ice cream chat. Buy one, get one free for Björn. That's why he got Ben and Jerry's. They're both talking about chocolate chip cookie. Fantastic. Yeah, Mikey remembers it. I knew Mikey would because Mikey competed in it as well. It's a good few seasons ago now, but that was a great race. And amazingly, that was before Mikey and the gang took over of IRL. You know, for those that are slightly unaware, or if you aren't aware, then the news obviously coming out this week that Mikey and the lead admin team are stepping down at the end of this season. And Luke Bailey, who is a long-time member of Invictus Racing League, has been around even before myself and Mikey joined IRL, is going to be taking on season 25. Be some background work to help support him with. And then IRL and PGS will be coming together to make up a brand new season 26. So Invictus Racing League will be carrying on in good, strong hands. I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops, and it wouldn't be a broadcast, would it, without my headset switching itself off at a very important and critical time. But the formation lap is underway here for season 24. And look at this for strategy. They're all on the same tyres. The top 10 are all on the mediums. Stephen, Mikey and the War Islander are on the hard compound. Everyone else outside of the top 10 are on mediums. And that will be fascinating for the strategy makers out there in terms of what they are going to do. I'm surprised that ARL hasn't gone with something different in the Racing Bull. But, of course, I am an observer and a commentator. I am not racing. I'm hoping to return to racing soon. That'd be quite nice if I can. Going to have a breather for a bit before that. The race strategy saying a 2-stop for the 26 cars. I'm not 100% certain what the strategy is really around Abu Dhabi. I've not, out of all the circuits we've done this season, this is the only one I've not been able to race around in my own career mode. So that could go anyway, really, with the strategy. But it looks like it could be a 2-stop, could even be a 1-stop. We'll have to find out which way that goes. Now, just a reminder, as formation lap continues on, Sydney is 8 points behind our championship leader, that is Ash. If the results were to fit, let's say the grid finishes as it is, then Sydney would be champion by, if my calculations are correct, by 3 points from Mercked. So, completely wide open. Irara and O'Stephen have managed to touch each other on the formation lap, which is not the type of cloth anybody wants to be near. Oh, Joe Ray saying I sound worn out. No, I'm very serious. That's what it is. I am really looking forward to this one because I want it to be a belter for everybody involved. Right then, the 8th and final round of season 24 of the Invictus Racing League is here. It's Owen on the right, Sydney on the left. Who will make the best start? And the race is live here from Abu Dhabi. It looks like a good launch from the pole sitter, and Merck's done a good job as well. He's going to be on the outside line heading into turn number 1. He gets through quite nicely, and Merck moves up into second place. That's exactly the start he would have wanted. Owen and Jeremy Clarkson now fighting over third position. The Aston Martin trying to find a way through. He runs into the back of the Mercedes. Jeremy looking to the outside line. You've got steps there as well as they brake, and there's contact, and Jeremy Clarkson goes off the road. There's steps making contact with the Aston Martin, who almost got flipped over then as that happened, but it's allowed Ash Tube to go up to 4th place. How important is that for this race? Owen now looking to apply the pressure to the back of the Red Bull, and lock up from said Red Bull in the former Merck there. That is controversial, what has happened with Jeremy and the steps. It looked a bit peculiar, to be honest with you. But the steps running in 5th position. Doesn't look like there's any damage in that car. ARL in 6th place. Then it's Iran. Then it's Ginger. Then it's Ivan. FRLO Stephen runs in the top 10. Louis and Irar squabbling over the last points. Jeremy Clarkson down to 13th. And War Islander on those hard tyres, doing something different compared to everyone else, in 14th place as Jeremy Clarkson tries to find and fight a way back through. 2 cars in 1. What a move from the AMR 26 driver. That is fabulous work. Jeremy is fired up and angry. Wants to get past his teammate who was on the opposite tyre strategy to him. It's almost as if it's Lance Stroll versus Fernando Alonso. You can decide which one's which. I'm just making an analogy. But it is Sydney leading the way at the front. And he is trying to pull away from Merckx, but that's not going to happen at this point in the race because Merckx will have the available boost now on lap 2 that he can use. That gives him a little bit of extra electrical deployment energy to build up speed to the back of Sydney. And of course, there's 2 massive straight mode areas on this racetrack. One of them we're at now, and Merckx will have the power to just sit with the Ferrari. Merckx won't make any stupid moves ever, but he will bide his time and decide where he wants to do it. ARL trying to look at the back of the steps, trying to help his teammate out. And I think ARL is going to try and just give Ashtube as much of a breather so he can attack everyone where he can. But Ashtube has dropped back a little bit as Jeremy Clarkson continues his angry revenge drive up into 9th place. But Ivan gets back past him. That's a nice little deployment to redeployment overtake there from the Audi. The War Islander going past Ira in the background. You can just see the 2 side by side. Look, oh, bit of contact. Sidebod to wheel contact between the Aston Martin and the Audi. And Jeremy can't go through. And the War Islander can't get past Ira. So that's that for now. In the fights over 9th and 14th place respectively, as XRL Flavour has a big snap of oversteer on the exit there of turn 14. Sydney still leads the way, but he's under extreme pressure now from Merckx. You can see some tyre strategies coming in, saying a 2-stop. Someone will try a 1-stop, guaranteed, if that's going to be the case. Ashtube just falls a little bit away there in the opening sector. But interesting to see how everyone is using the deployment differently. Speaking of deployment, here we go. Merckx to take the race lead. And he will go in front of the Ferrari, or will he? He's there down the inside, but the 2 are going neck and neck through the corner at the chicane. And they just about leave each other racing room, but Merckx is going to emerge in front of the Dutchman. And now Owen wants to gain it into the party as well. He's going to try and go around the outside. Merckx covers that line off. He's got to be careful, because if he runs wide, it's going to cause some huge issues. But the Red Bull consistently keeps it on the road and takes the lead of the race. Owen right there in the wheel tracks of the Ferrari in front of us. Ashtube hanging on, as is the steps, and ARL just about, well, I was just about to say managing to hang on, but that's not the case. Jeremy, oh, where is Jeremy going? And Ivan's gone off as well. We just caught the end of that. I'm not sure or certain what has happened between those 2. They were very close together, and I imagine Jeremy Clarkson's penalty has come from, and he's got front wing damage, and that is admittedly an outside contender for the championship, sadly going into the pits. And that'll put him to the back of the field. Mikey will get an overtake, which he'll be delighted with in the Cadillac. So Merckx leads. Sydney's in 2nd, Owen's in 3rd. Owen the interloper in this championship fight at the minute, as Merckx now leads them down the straight, and Sydney has decided he wants to go back into the race lead, and sure enough, they're going to go side by side once again into turn 6 and 7, and the Ferrari moves back into the race lead. But that wasn't the best line from the Dutchman, and here goes the Red Bull and gets on by. Straight line mode activated for the cars. What about Owen? Well, he's going to look to the outside line, but Sydney deploys just a little bit of battery to maintain the position. Ashtube still right there with the group. He's doing exactly what he needs to do right now and just maintaining that position. 4th place, as it stands, is enough. If the race were to finish with the roles of 1st and 2nd reversed, it would be enough. But he needs Sydney to get into the race lead. If that happens, Ashtube is champion. As it stands, Merckx will be taking it by, and if my maths is right here, and it's going to be very quick maths, it'll be by 1 point. So, yeah, that's how tight the margins are. The Steps just having a little bit of a fun time on his return to Invictus Racing League in 5th place. He's doing a great drive so far. Really nice to see him up there, actually. The man, a former podium finisher in Tier 1 before, when we used to run multiple tiers. Let's hope with the new F127 game we can get back to where Invictus Racing League should be, really, with multiple tiers. But obviously we know the game, the way that it is the last few iterations, hasn't exactly been the best for esports leagues. But Merckx still at the front of the field. in that Ford-powered car. And Sydney now. Is this going to be Sydney's time to try and make a lunge into turn number 9? Not quite enough. Owen sitting in behind in third. Ashtube in the steps. And ARL has lost now that 1 second window. A little bit further back, Aaron leading the next group of himself, Ginger and Louis. And Stevens doing a great drive on those hard tyres. Now, I will say this much from experience as someone who's, and I'm going to just, toot my own horn here as commentator for season 24. The last time that I raced around Abu Dhabi, I did win in IRL. And the hard tyre is incredibly one of the only tracks in this game where it's arguably the best tyre to drive on. Ivan Balov has gone for a spin, as I was talking about myself. So he's taken all the attention away from me. But the hard tyre is, to be honest with you, the best tyre, realistically, around this racetrack. It's a really malleable tyre compound to use. And it's got some good performance. The performance step is not that big compared to itself and the mediums. You don't really want to use the soft tyres unless there's a very late race safety car. And we are on lap 6, back at the front. Close between Sydney and Merckx again. Not quite, close enough. I've been running a little bit deep there into turn 6. Ash is hanging on to that group. And if anybody does decide to do a 2-stop or tries to do a 1-stop, expect the strategists to start working that one out over the next couple of laps. We'll start working our way into that window. Oh, Stephen very close to Ginger Tiger. Forget very close, he's alongside him for that matter. Into turn 9 they go. The McLaren defends the inside line, and O'Stevens, to be honest, just kind of run into the back of Ginger there. I think O'Steven was a little bit compromised by his line and then just couldn't find a way through. So the Aston Martin stays in 10th place. But I said before, O'Steven, this season and the last few seasons that I've commentated on him, that podium we talked about last season at Bahrain where he drove really well that day, he's more than capable. He's improved in the last few seasons. I feel like the games have worked towards his favour. He's going to go for a look at turn 1, but thinks better of it. Decided not to dive down the inside. But at this stage in the race, he's probably on the better tyre. What he's got to be wary of is War Islander. Yellow flag out there for Ivan Balov. He's had a spin again. He's actually hit the pit wall. And is that a VSC or is that a full-blown safety car? No, it's a VSC. So that gives everyone an opportunity to just recharge the batteries a little bit. Ivan, doing a David Coulthard from Adelaide of 1995 there, and retiring from the session. So he's caused the VSC, which I don't think is going to affect anybody at this point in the race, to be honest with you. I think everyone's on the other side of the circuit. If we get going again, I don't think anything's going to happen. Now, Owen has slowed down a little bit, and I think Ashtube is worried because that gap has gone over a second. But what I would say, what is really pertinent right now, is that the drivers don't want to be nudging the... Well, there you go. I was going to say you don't want to be nudging the margin. Excuse me. As we go back racing again. You don't want to be nudging the margin for VSC, because if you get a time penalty, that'll do your racing completely. Now, Ashtube was a bit worried about it. He's almost fallen out of the 1 second window there for the extra boost. Ashtube's got to fight to get back in here. He's got to really push. Doing what he can, and Sydney is also trying to do what he can. Now remember, the whole championship complexion changes if Sydney takes the race lead. Because if Sydney takes the race lead, that will put Owen still in third place, but that will put Ashtube in the prime position to take the championship this evening. Owen has the fastest lap as it stands. So Ashtube's alternative strategy, if he can't perhaps get onto this group or overtake in this group and finishes fourth, perhaps is going to be to try and take fastest lap of the race. Which if he does do, give him an extra point in his armoury, and it'll go down to count back on results. Now, I believe Merckx has taken 3 race victories this season. Incredibly, Sydney hasn't. And Ashtube has taken 1. So if it were to tie on points, it would still be Ashtube taking the championship from Sydney. But Sydney not with a race win. So it can still all change. It's so finely poised here on lap number 9. Let's just have a look at the drivers as they go through. Oh, where's Owen off to? Perhaps finding an alternative line. I wonder if he went that far wide so he could avoid a track limits penalty. I'm not really sure how that would work. And J. Ray Bay agreeing with me there. Yeah, the hard tyre is fantastic around this track. I'm surprised nobody started on it in the top 10. I think it would have been my first port of call. Sydney close again, but I think Sydney knows what to do here. As reigning champion and multiple champion of IRL, he knows exactly how to drive the car. We all know this. Björn saying average Jeremy Clarkson race. XRL Flavour getting a move on Ira there. But Ira's going to be in the slipstream here. I wonder if XRL's overtaking him a little bit too early. Not quite, and that's a harsh penalty to pick up, isn't it? He just went off the road, and then he nearly went off the road at turn 6. Ira's trying to go around the outside at turn 7. And he's going to get the traction, and the Haas is going to breeze on through. So that's a bit frustrating for XRL. He had a really nice overtake, and then it all seemingly went away from him. As Mikey continues to pick up track limits penalties, because... Whoa! Look at this, the War Islander, that's 3 wide! And that is Louis going the wrong way round, and now War Islander trying to go through with a left-hander, and there's going to be contact between himself and O'Stephen. Well, I did say it's 3 wide. It doesn't ever happen, that, into turn 12. The last time someone tried to go too wide through there ended up with Nico Rosberg filing over the top of the rain car to Cayenne. So, yes, 3 wide didn't quite work, and Louis goes into the pits. But the hard tyre drivers are looking strong, but the War Islander is stunted in his growth. He really probably needs to get back into this fight at the front. He probably needs a well-timed VSC or a full-blown safety car. But the first priority is to get past this Aston Martin in front of him. The top 5 still all separated by a second. ARL on his own in 6th place at the minute. Now War Islander is going to go for it. He's got the boost. He's got the capacity. He's going to be on the inside as they go down the gears. The Red Bull, a little bit of contact with O'Stephen, but he was in front of the Aston Martin as he got there. At turn 6 or 7, he goes through. Now War Islander, is he going to try and do 2 in 3 corners? He's close to Ginger, but not quite close enough. Back at the front, Sydney almost losing the 1 second window there, but Owen has. Crucial for this for the race. Oh, a big snap of oversteer from Owen and subsequently from the steps. Now Owen is outside of that 1 second window. This arguably could be good news in a sense for Ashtube, because if Owen can't hang on to them and then Ashtube gets the benefit of that extra one, the 1 second of deployment, the 80 extra horsepower from the electrical energy that he gets, if Owen can't hang on, which it definitely doesn't look like he can, Ashtube finishing in 3rd place would give him the title unless Merck took fastest lap. And here we go. Ashtube, first opportunity, goes on by the Mercedes. Nice move. Owen not fighting that too hard. And the Racing Bull moves into 3rd position now. Owen will go and look to deploy the battery again. He's close. The steps is closer though. Which way does the R26 driver go? He looks to the outside line of turn 9. And the Audi trying to go all the way around the outside. But the Mercedes crowds him out of the way. But look at the battery differences. Oh my goodness me. How close were they to having a huge accident there into turn 10? That would have been a humongous accident. But somehow they've survived that. Evening to Luke, incoming director of Invictus Racing League. Good to have you with us. And Sydney's in the pits. Sydney is in. So one of the championship protagonists into the pits. That is going to be potentially a one-stop strategy. From there, it's possible Sydney deciding that's the best option for him to take right now. Owen, though, you're right, J-Ray. his tyres do look a little bit knackered at the moment. He is struggling a little bit more, and the steps is looking ready to pounce. Merck now 3 seconds up the road. Nice exit from the Audi. You can effectively see the rear diffuser strakes as the steps goes on by. There's nothing Owen can do about it, and the Audi moves into 3rd position. And look at, I was going to say looking the strongest of this group, but then has a big snap of oversteer. So where did Sydney come out? He actually came out in front of Iran, so he's got a nice buffer to ARL. But this is what I was talking about before. Sydney has 8 seconds of freedom to go and do whatever he wants in. However, ARL will stay out there. That's what he's going to be fighting up against. So this is far from done for the championship fight. That could swing Ashtube's way just yet, but the steps has done well to get past Owen, and Owen now going into the pits. That'll be down to the race stewards who will judge whether he clipped the pit lane or not. I think he got in, actually, to be fair to him. But he pits now, looking for that undercut, responding to the efforts of Sydney. ARL moves up into 4th place. The gap between ARL and Sydney looks like it's going to just update for us now on the timing tower. Down to 5 seconds. Wow. He took almost 3 seconds out of the racing bull in front of him. That just shows you the power of the undercut here. So Sydney then really going full gas for the victory tonight. Of course he would. Owen just gets out in front of the War Islander. Sydney now 2.5 seconds. Now, I think ARL is slowing down. He knows what his job is. It is home race for ARL, technically speaking. He's from Wales, but he lives in Abu Dhabi. But for ARL, he knows exactly what the plan is here, is to help his teammate out. The steps is very close to Ashtube, and Ashtube could really do without this pressure, to be honest with you, at this point in the race. But ARL is ready for his duty. and he's in. There we go. This is it now. Owen close to the back of Iran. Oh, look at the advantage you get of fresh new tyres. Merck, race leader in the pits. And that is a move completed for Owen. And Sydney has gone past ARL. Well, that was unexpected. Now, was that planned? The front three are all in the pits. Now, I was not expecting ARL to have let the Ferrari through. I don't think he meant to have done, and he's got no tyres. He can't do anything about it. Where are the rest of the drivers? Mercked, we can't see him because the timing tower doesn't tell us where he is. Where is he in relation to Ashtube? Well, he's obviously going to be in front because of the pits. But where's Owen in relation to Ashtube? I think he's going to be in front. Yeah, the Mercedes has gone on through. So, ARL, I hate to say it, got that a little bit wrong with his team. And now Merck knows what his sister team compatriot is up to. Björn saying, is that allowed? Well, of course it is. You know, you've got to remember Sergio Perez did it to Hamilton back in a few years ago. It's absolutely fine. As long as it's nothing illegal. Although Merck's going to have such a good exit here. It's going to be down to ARL to really push the button if he can. Merck is marginally in front. Going to be the outside line into the next corner at the right-hander. And Merck goes through. J-Ray, yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think ARL got it wrong with Sydney. But in a weird twist of fate, because of him slowing up Merck, it's actually allowed Ashtube to, once ARL pits, he will actually then put Ashtube back into 4th place, which will give Ashtube the championship lead again. And Sydney has got fastest lap now. Ooh, that might have changed it. Yeah, wow, that's going to change everything. We're going to have to go back to point. So, if it finishes with Ashtube in 4th place, we're assuming that ARL pits, which he will have to. Bien saying, wouldn't it better for VCARB to let Mert frick? No, surprisingly, as ARL now starts trying to block Owen, and that brings Ashtube just back into the window. But Owen's going to have a lovely exit off the corner, and through he goes. Now, ARL will let his teammate through without a shadow of a doubt. Or will he go after? He's going to go after Owen instead. So here goes the Racing Bull back down the inside. He's got to get the car stopped because if it'll be all for nothing if Owen just gets a lot of traction off the corner, which he does do, and he's going to go back on by. So it's now going to come back down to deployment again. Owen having to deploy as much as he can, but the Racing Bull's not giving up. He goes to the outside line. He's going to have to, I think, yield that position and lets his teammate by. And the Steps, just by virtue of being in the same proximity as that fight, goes through. But it brings Ashtube into a fight for the podium positions. All to play for now. Really all to play for. As it stands, it's going to go back. It's going to go on to count back for second places. And that will be the Grand Prix second places. So if memory is correct, I think Ashtube has 2. And Sydney perhaps also has 2. I'm gonna have to go through the archives here and have a little look. ARL now pits. So this is important. If Ashtube doesn't want to mess about with the championship, he needs to go through on Owen. That's what he needs. If he gets past, takes the lead of the race, finishes in 3rd, as it stands, he will be champion. But Steps wants to get involved in all this. Owen will want to finish off his season with a podium, if he can. He's already had one. He should have had another one last week, actually, instead of Owen, but final corner had a word with him. Nice exit, that. Nice line through turns number 6 and 7 from the Racing Bull. And he's deploying the battery. Here we go, Ashtube. He's got one opportunity that he wants to take, but he decides better of it, interestingly enough. Merckx is closing on Sydney. Not by much, but it is enough to give the Dutchman a bit of a problem to think about. The Steps has the fastest lap of the race. Now, we didn't see that, but with the Steps taking fastest lap, we'll just ride on board with Merckx here, because that could all change. Let's just wait before I say that statement. Oh, it's close. It's a 25.8, but it's not quite enough. If it stays as it is, with the Steps taking the fastest lap point away, that resets the situation with the table. It would leave Ashtube on 85 points. It would put Merckx on 85 points. And Ashtube, he's looking to the outside line. He's trying to get through. The Steps has just been positioning himself well for this, and Owen gets overtaken. Now it's going to be a drag race to the line. There's contact between the Steps and Owen. That's the second time they've come so close to blows and having an almighty accident. ARL's back there. Ashtube's got in front. There's more contact between the Steps and Owen, and there's going to be contact between the two. The Steps somehow got the car stopped. I don't know how he managed that. Owen almost going off the road. Ashtube, though, he had to go around the outside line. He's going to be on the inside line for the next corner. I think the Racing Bull's going to go through. He does indeed. Steps tries to do the undercut at turn 9. Steps ever an aggressive racer. He's putting all of his aggressiveness on the line for this final race, and I think it'll have fired Owen up. Björn, to answer your question, yeah, fastest lap right now, not relevant to anybody. But Merckx is closer. I think Sydney has had a mistake out there. This is critical for the championship. This is so vital right now. 5-point swing wouldn't be enough for Sydney. If Merckx gets into the race lead, that will put him within a point of Ashtube for the title, as it stands. It is in the Racing Bull driver's hands right now, but the Steps is doing everything he can to make sure that it isn't. But I have to say, Ashtube is doing a solid job right now. He's coping with the demands and the pressure from the drivers behind. They both have the battery to deploy. And what a time this is. War Islander goes through on Louis. That's new tyres. Now, the War Islander is also a threat for fastest lap as well. Just whilst we are talking, because he's got a brand new set of mediums on. They'll go to the end of the race. And War Islander absolutely could still catch up to ARL, who's just running around in 6th place. But ARL has another job to do. He could also decide to go at the end of the race and pit for soft tyres and just go for fastest lap to take that point away from anybody. But Merckx is there. And Sydney knows it. Yellow flag out there. Is that for Mikey? It is. Mikey's gone off the road. Not sure quite what has happened to Mikey in the Cadillac. He's gone a lap down though. Merckx has ripped time here. The other, I think Ira has just gone off the circuit as well at turn 6. Now Merckx, first opportunity to try and go past the Ferrari. Long-time championship rivals, these two. And they're both losing the battery charge as they go into turn number 6. Sydney's on the inside line for the next corner. But Merckx has... Best headset ever. Merckx, though, has got the lead of the race now from Sydney. And as I was talking about the War Island, I have an opportunity to take the fastest lap. Forget about it, because Jeremy Clarkson's decided to do a 1:25.4. Staggering effort, that. And the steps has gone through. Ashtube moves him out of the way. Look at that brilliant spectator cam. And then briefly not, as we go over the bridge there. Ira is retired. He's retired in the pits, though, so that's the season over for Ira. The steps wants a podium. He doesn't care about championship narratives, and Merckx will be cheering him on to keep getting in the way. Owen is still involved in the podium fight. ARL's a bit further back on his own. Well, relatively speaking, Aaron's not too far away, but the War Islander and Jeremy Clarkson are coming, so watch out for those two on the mediums. And Louis is in a good fight with O'Stephen down in 12th place. The last of the points on offer of season 24, for that matter. Right, another opportunity for the steps. Is he going to run out of deployment? They both are running out of deployment, for that matter. It's going to be on the inside, but the steps thinks better of it. Tries to save some of the battery. Yellow flag for the back marker of Mikey, not for anything else. And I'm not sure why they've given him a yellow flag. He was still moving. Batteries open once again, all being deployed. We're watching most of the action here. Where does the steps go? He goes to the inside line. Ashtube fighting, still fighting. Contact, and the steps has gone round. Half spin for steps. He just about kept it in a straight line. That was just side-by-side contact through that corner. They both had enough racing room. Ashtube survives a big scare, because that could have very easily been him pointing the wrong way round. And Sydney is still keeping Merckx honest here. That is not over between those two. And Sydney could still win this championship if Owen and the steps go past last year. That's how quickly it all changes. It really can all change tonight. Björn is asking, how can Merckx win the championship? Well, if it finishes as it is, what he realistically needs, Merckx needs Ashtube to finish 4th or lower. Because that would be so Merckx is 6 points behind Ashtube right now. First place gets 17 points, 4th place gets 10. So that would be enough to overtake in the drivers' standings. So hopefully that answers your question, Björn. J Ray saying Merckx always seems to have a good amount of battery. Yeah, it's. I've said this. I said this at the start of season 24. The F126 expansion, as Owen has a dramatic lunge for the inside of turn 9. F126 is the thinking drivers DLC, and I think that just lends itself even more to Merckx's vast array of techniques that he's got in a Formula 1 car. The War Islander, by the way, he's moved up into 7th place now. Jeremy Clarkson is on the back of Ginger Tiger. And I feel like that this is going to be a relatively straightforward overtake. Those front two are 10 seconds in front of Ashtube right now. And Ginger Tiger fighting as much as he can, but Jeremy's on the softer compound of tyre on the medium compared to the white wall hard. So the yellow shod tyre of the Aston Martin 2.6 goes into 9th position. So Jeremy now will be going after Aaron, but he does have a lot of penalties. 6 seconds as Mikey moves out of the way again. Oh, Stephen's been overtaken, but a lovely move by Louis there, and Owen's into 3rd place. That's a straightforward battery overtake down the straight between turns 5 and 6. Ashtube will be ready to go again. But Ashtube just has to keep his head. He knows who the fight is with. He knows the driver that's in front of him is the difference between him and the championship. But he also knows that if he starts fighting with Owen too much, he'll bring the steps back into this, and you'll end up having a 3-car fight for 3rd place. He just wants one target to aim for. This is all about championship management now. It's a unique position to be in. It's been a long time. Oh, Owen's lost it! Owen has spun it all on his own. And just as I was talking about championship management, the Mercedes spins out of 3rd place. And it reopens the battle between potentially the Steps and Ashtube. As they came across the line, I don't think the Steps had it within a second. I don't think Ashtube somehow didn't make contact with the Audi. It's like a reverse Nico Hulkenberg from the weekend. How did he get away with that? Now he knows that the car that he's got to fend off is the one behind, not the one in front. And that might have just tipped the advantage in Ashtube's favour. There is another variable that I'm just going to mention here. If a safety car happens in the last few laps, fastest lap point will open up for everyone. As it stands, it's not going to change. Jeremy Clarkson has got it. These guys on the hard tyres, they're not going to go any faster now. You could look at ARL, who might decide to just go for it anyway, but at the minute he doesn't need to. And Sydney has dropped out of the 1 second battery status window he needed with Mercked. Whew. Take a deep breath, everyone. The Steps is close. Ashtube can't do anything now other than just go full 100%. He has to. But the Steps is within a second this time around. Oh, you wouldn't. Whose position would you want to be in, ladies and gentlemen? Would you want to be in Merck's or would you want to be in Ashtube's? I'll be honest with you. If it was me, and I don't normally offer my opinion, but it is the last round of the season. If I was anybody right now, I'd rather be Ash. Because the destiny's in my hands. Got a yellow flag. We got a safety car. No way. What did I say? What did I say? A safety car could happen. What has happened to have caused it out on circuit? No way. 5 laps to go and Ashtube's worst fears have just been compounded by a safety car happening. Goodness me. And I can't see what's caused it. I absolutely cannot see. Aaron's gone onto the mediums. I don't think he wanted those. Jeremy's on the soft. Ginger on the softs. Oh, Stephen has decided to go round again. Louis going for the soft. XRL flavour on the soft. Mikey, I think he can't unlap himself. So I think the position he is on circuit actually won't cause a 2021. Björn saying it was Owen. Let's just have a look. Ah, well, there you go. Complete front wing ripped off. And I wonder if Owen will take on the status of Nicholas Latifi now. Mercked in the pit. Sydney in the pit. Ashtube goes in. Just get it stopped, Ashtube. It's so important. You don't want to pick up a 10-second drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane and with 4 laps to go of the season. It's all in the balance. Important work from the pit crews. Ashtube is in front of the Audi, so that's important. So the top 3 in the driver's standings are in the top 3 in race order. Owen has got a new set of softs on the Mercedes car. He'll be a threat. ARL will also be a threat because he'll just do what he can to help his teammate out now. Well, I talked about fastest lap. Owen went round turn 3. I was busy watching the action. Turn 3 is an interesting place to have gone off the road. Aaron's got new mediums. He's going to be the only driver in the whole field with new mediums on. Unless Mikey decides to put inters on. I'm just looking to see, is the safety car has picked up Merckx. But Mikey's still a lap down, so it doesn't matter what he does. And Ash Tube, yeah. So just looking at the cars, I was looking at the positioning of everybody. So the top 4, that nobody has to worry realistically, apart from, I think it's the War Islander actually is going to be the car that will be behind Mikey in the safety car queue, unless Mikey decides to pit. 2 laps to settle the championship. Oh, someone pinches, it's 2021 all over again, but I would argue without the same amount of controversy. Take a deep breath. This is it. Season 24. Mikey will be sat there when he gets the opportunity to watch this back thinking, what a way to end his tenure as director of this wonderful racing series. And Luke Bailey, who is watching right now, will be thinking, wow, I'm taking on a wonderful racing series. That's just amazing, isn't it, when you think about it that way? It's just absolutely fantastic. There's loads of you watching as well. So let's get it on. Safety car taking them through the next couple of corners right now as we speak. They're in turn 5. We'll be waiting for the rest of the cars to come through. There's Jeremy, there's Ginger. Louis a little bit further back, but he will catch the train. Can't see why he wouldn't. Oh, Stephen, XRL Flavour. Mikey's already with the pack. So Mikey is going to be the interloper here because he's between War Islander and ARL. He will move right. Mikey is brilliant. He will just move right out of the way. And what a way for this season to finally come to what has been a topsy-turvy season. You know, if you think about the races that we've had, you know, Ash Tube winning the opening round at Singapore, Clips Kiri getting that podium. It's just been full of results that you would and wouldn't expect. You know, War Islander coming back having a big championship charge. Jeremy Clarkson being unbelievably brilliant and equally dramatic at the same time. If he'd have got another couple of race results, he'd be right in the fight with all this. You know, Ginger Tiger scoring a podium, Ash Tube becoming a championship protagonist. It's been really wonderful to watch. Owen even scoring a podium. You know, that's also, you know, a really big news story as well, because even for him, he was delighted with that result, even though he nearly ran out of fuel. So it has just been a season for the record books. ARL getting that first ever race win, let's not forget. You know, of course. That was an astonishing achievement for him. I knew how happy he was speaking to him after the race. He was so thrilled with that. He's someone who was fully invested in IRL. Want to get on board, certainly for the admin team, Luke, if you're watching. But it looks like the rest of the cars, they're all into position. It's just XRL Flavour who is coming around the next couple of corners. And he's on the train. 2 laps. 2 laps of racing action. The fastest lap genuinely could be set on lap 29. It could come down to the last metres of the corner. Goodness me, this is all set up for what is going to be a barnstorming finish. If Merckx wins the race and takes fastest lap, as it stands, he will be champion. If Ash Tube finishes in 3rd, but Merckx doesn't get fastest lap, he will be champion. If, for whatever reason, Merckx doesn't finish in the top 3 and Ash Tube finishes outside of the top 3 and Sydney wins, Sydney will be champion. Absolutely all to play for. Safety car is in this lap. Hello to Flynn. If you have a look, Flynn, in the... I believe it should be in the description, but if it's not, you can have a look at the social medias that we've got there in the description, the Twitter, well, it's X, Facebook, Instagram and Discord. That's all on there. You should be able to sign up through there. But if you really give one of the admin team a message, they'll be able to help you out. Björn saying, does he need fast lap? Nope, he doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. Ashtube doesn't need fastest lap. I mean, if he did, it would fully secure the championship if it finishes as it is. But it's fine for now. I will know what to say. Don't worry, everyone. I know what's happening. We are about to go racing for the final 2 laps, 5 and a bit miles, to sort out the season 24 champion with Invictus Racing League. Strap yourselves in, everyone. It's about to go live one more time. No more safety cars, no more interruptions. It's all to play for. Merckx will lead him around the final corner. We ride on board with Sydney. He goes now. That's a good launch for Merckx. That's exactly what he needed. Ashtube's all over the back of Sydney as they come towards turn number 1. Sydney will not need to defend into the first corner. Owen is right there as well. ARL hanging onto the back of it side by side with, I think it's actually Mikey just getting out of the way there. So Sydney is right with the Merckx Red Bull. He's going to go to the inside line. This will change the complexion of the championship. Owen's going for it down the inside of the steps. They make a little bit of contact through the corner, but Sydney is in the lead. Merckx decides to go back for it down the inside. They're going to blast towards turn 6 and 7, but the Ferrari has got the lead. Ashtube in the wheel tracks of the pair of them. He's going to look to the outside of Merckx. This is an opportunity for the league title for Ashtube to go around the outside at 6, then 7. It's all about the exit now from the pair of them, but Merckx is going to get the drag out of the corner. Steps watching on, taking a brief of this with Owen just in behind. In towards turn 9 they go. Ashtube to the outside line. Can he hang it all the way around the outside of the Brit? I don't think he can. Owen has got past the steps in the meantime. That separates out that little group. It's all to play for as they come into the second part of the lap. Owen's gone down the inside of Ashtube. There's going to be a bit of contact between the two, but Ashtube manages to hold that position in third place. It is an absolute squabble for this championship. Can you believe what you're witnessing? Into the penultimate corner for the penultimate time of season 24, but it's Sydney who leads the way as they come across the start-finish line for lap 29. Merckx is looking to the inside line at turn 1, and if they do bang wheels, which they do, that's probably going to cost them fastest lap. Merckx now has the lead of the race. Ashtube sits and waits. There's a yellow flag. Who cares? It's Merckx at the front and Sydney back to the inside line as they go into turn number 4. The Ferrari lunges it. Owen lunges it as well into that corner, but there's a little wobble from the Mercedes. Here we go then, down the main straight. Merckx and Sydney, there's not even a width of A4 paper between the two, but Ashtube sits in behind. He waits, he watches. What will happen? Here goes Owen down the inside. Contact. Sydney's gone flying off the road. Where is Sydney gone there? I've no idea, but Sydney's got a 10-second corner cut penalty. It's all in Ashtube's hands now as Sydney has rejoined the circuit. Merckx is behind him. What about Ashtube? He's there. Steps and Owen. Oh, there's going to be contact between those two. I'm not going to watch that anymore because it's going to be carnage. But Merckx has gone through and Sydney goes off the road. Merckx is in the lead, but Ashtube is going to win the championship if it finishes as it stands. Merckx goes through the final couple of corners. The Red Bull is going to take the victory, I feel, through these last 3. ARL's got through. There's all carnage in the background. Merckx is going to be your race winner of the final round of season 24, but it's Ashtube 1-2-1-2 who is champion of season 24. He has pulled it off against the odds, and it's a 2-3 for Racing Bulls. What a race, what a final few laps that was. And I've got to stop because that was 4 minutes of pure action. Wow. That is unbelievable. What you have just witnessed is the most chaotic final few kilometres of a season you have ever seen. Sydney went off the road, got a 10-second time penalty, and then went off the track again at turn 9. And Ashtube, for what I believe is the first time ever, is an Invictus Racing League champion. Wow. That is absolutely phenomenal. What we have just seen, I've never ever seen a finale that frenetic in the whole of my time commentating in Invictus Racing League. Merckx will take the victory, but it won't be enough to overhaul Ashtube, who will be your champion for this season. That has been the one for all the stories, all the battles, everything that has happened in this league. That is a wonderful, wonderful news story. An incredible fight in the end. Merckx does it, and he does it incredibly by 1 point. What a phenomenal story that is. And what I've got to do now is just give you a bit of a provisional results here. Merckx is your winner, but Ashtube is your champion of season 24. ARL takes a 2-3 for Racing Bulls. The War Islander, what a drive through the field for War Islander to get fourth. Irun is fifth. The Steps ended up sixth with FRLO Stephen. Seventh, Flavour, Sydney, Jeremy, Louis, Ginger. Round out your point scorers. Whew. Wow. As I just put the finishing touches on. Oh. Flynn asking the invite for. Let's just have a look. J Ray asking what happened. Björn saying Jeremy took fastest lap and that's why Ashtube was champion. Not quite. Because Merckx never had the fastest lap of the race, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that is just an incredible story. Oh, right, okay, Björn, I get what you mean, my bad. I'm almost speechless because that doesn't happen. Like that you literally, that doesn't happen apart from 2021, does it? You know, you don't see it in league racing in the same way. We had a 5-car championship fight, but that's what we did, and it's a double championship victory for both Racing Bulls and for, of course, Ashtube, because Racing Bulls, they won the Constructors' Championship last week. Jay Ray saying shout out to Owen for the late race charmer. It has been one of those times where you just think that's what you want. That's just exactly what you want in your life. Aaron's saying he's exhausted after that. Flynn, if you're still watching, please do have a look at the comment from Jack TM53 Synopsis. That's me. That's the Discord link. You can have a look at that. Aaron's saying, did not expect P5, given how far off the pace we were. Well, that's what happens in championship fight at the end. You know, the championship protagonists find an extra gear to go up, and that's normally the differential between the drivers and the championship protagonists. But whew, gotta have a moment, haven't you? You have to have a moment there. Just a wonderful battle for everybody involved. And you know, the best thing about it is that through the whole race is that I had a suspicion, I just had a feeling that it was all going to happen in the last few laps. But wasn't protocol. I don't want anyone to get a conspiracy theory tinfoil hat, conspiracy theories going. But I just had a feeling it was going to happen. It was just in the air. You know, when you've got that many drivers going for the championship title, but Ashtube has come out with it as a victory, and that's just a delightful news story, isn't it? It's great for him to have. Iran, well done to you, son. You've done a great job this season, and you are, as you rightly say, the only driver who scored points in every race this season. So, you know, that's a mega story, a mega level of consistency. And you're right. You know, I think I'm going to come away from what's just happened for a second, and for everyone who's watching right now, if you're listening to me, do just stick around, because I want to talk from my experiences as admin and what has happened over the last few years with Invictus Racing League, whilst, you know, Mikey has been coordinator and I've been involved in basically alongside as right hand man alongside all of that. You know, we took on Invictus Racing League before season 20, and we had 2 malfunctioning tiers is the best way to describe it. And, you know, at the time, it was looking likely, you know, it was going to be that IRL was going to be absorbed into another racing league. But Mikey, myself, Simon Rudd, Jordan, and Bruce Lee Harding, we all came together, along with Darryl Whiffen, actually, who's not really mentioned enough, to put a plan in place to try and keep IRL going. We had the Formula 2 league happening, and that was the little mini league just to get things up and running. It worked, and then we got back up to 2 tiers of action again, and it seemed like, you know, it was heading in the right direction. But unfortunately, the games that we had with F1 developed by Codemasters and EA just weren't enough to keep the player base around, and I feel like that's what we've struggled up against in recent times. And I do think this DLC is a good DLC, actually. I'm a big fan of the 26 cars. I enjoy driving them. They're really great and really good fun, but I don't think it's enough for the F1 community, realistically, in terms of the esports leagues. I think that the next game next year has to do twice as much as what a normal annual installment should do. You know, it really does have to develop further, because, you know, you can see it with PGSL, you can see it with other leagues where the numbers aren't there. You know, there's leagues that I was in that were quite healthy for a long time, and sadly they've disappeared now. And, you know, IRL sadly was also a victim of that. But I think we are quite proud of me, Mikey and Jordan were at Donington Park this weekend, and we talked about, you know, we are actually proud of what we've achieved, and to get to season 24 with everything in the right place, we are really, really proud of that. And I think, you know, with Luke Bailey coming back to IRL, taking it on, he's a really good guy, and he's going to put a really good shift in. He's got a good team already with him at PGS, you know, and there's going to be this sort of intermission period where season 25, there's going to be 2 concurrent championships going on between PGS and IRL, and then PGS is going to be coming back, or going to be coming part of IRL, and I think that'll be a really massive shot in the arm for the community. And it'll also bring back a few other drivers. You know, Sir Spud, who's a big part of Invictus Racing League. He wasn't able to take part this season, but he's still around. You know, it'd be great to have him back in the championship, because we all love Spud. He's fantastic, and I think we've done a really solid job. I think there was some issues at the end of the last ownership. I'm going to be honest now that we're here in the stream, but I won't be mean. That's the other thing. But I do think that there've been a lot of, you know, we've put a lot of stuff in place so that the new admin team can really come around and just hit the ground running. And season 25 will be starting soon. I'll obviously be taking a step back. You know, everyone who's in the comments knows the announcements about my personal life. I'll still be around. I'm not disappearing. I'm actually giving Luke a little bit of support in the background. So whilst I'm not on comms or anything, I will be away for a while. But I'm hoping to come back racing in the future. But let's have a look at these. There's so many comments. ARL, well done tonight. Really great drive. Thank you from him as well about the comms. Aaron, you did a great championship this season, mate. I think you should be really proud of it. You are, in theory, tier 2 pace, but you have been really, really grand. I think you should be proud of what you've done this season. Ash was fabulous, I think, this season. I think he's really done a wonderful drive, and that's been really fab to see. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have another driver at the top of Invictus Racing League for the first time in a while. That's really nice to say, which is great. But yeah, before I start, getting a bit emotional about it all, because it's quite easy to do stuff like that, I want to say, on behalf of Mikey for a start and the rest of the admin team, thank you everyone for sticking around with IRL. We are a good community. We have had a few bumps in the road at times, but that's the ebbs and flows of having a game like this. And I'm crossing everything that F127 will be a belter. I really hope it, but we'll have to wait and see. Mikey wouldn't mind me saying, obviously, of course, my headset would cut out there at that moment. Mikey wouldn't mind me saying either. He's done a great job. He really has. I think he's took on a mantle that he wasn't expecting to, but it just fell into his lap at the right time, and he's done a great job. And he's really proud of what everyone's done. A big thank you as well to everyone who's helped out over the course of the last few seasons. Big shout out to Clips Curry. Yeah, Chera, of course. It would be the case. But yeah, big shout out to Clips Curry. I hope you're watching this, or if you aren't, you watch it on the catch up on YT. He's done really good job for us this season. He's hosted a lot of races. He's done a lot of work in the background. Sydney as well. I know he's had a very quiet season in the stewards room, but he's still been there to help us all out. So yeah, thanks Sydney for your support on that one, because you've got the very few tickets done that have been completed, but we do appreciate that. Thanks to Jordan for doing all the graphics as well. Should I thank myself? No, I'm not. I haven't got an ego big enough for that. But season 25, it will be fully live streamed. Don't worry about that. There will be a commentator ready for the new championship, which would be really great. And yeah, that's it for the time being. So I will be about. I'll be probably be able to have a bit more of a laugh and a joke with everyone, which would be good. Once I've had time to have a bit of a rest. I definitely needed after that race. But from all of us here, from myself, Mikey, Jordan, Bruce Lee, Cy Rudd, and Darryl Whiffen, wherever you might end up being in the big wide world, thank you very much for being part of this wonderful journey for season 24. What a finale we had. A big congratulations to AshTube1212 for taking that championship crown, and what a race to cap off the end and the start of a brand new era for season 25. Big announcement coming up about that next week, by the way. Luke will give you all of the details that you need to know. Do check out the announcements page on the Discord channel. Any questions you might need to know, do send a message through to the social media team on our respective platforms. But from me, JackTM53, thank you very much for watching. Wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. And Invictus Racing League will see you in season 25.